from the top.
All right.
You have been... Right, from the top again. You have been listening to Just Making Conversation with...
James Giffins.
And Malcolm Childs.
I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry.
So that threw me right off. I was like, oh, we're doing doorbells now. All right.
James Giffins.
Housekeeping.
James Giffins. Right, come on. Sensible face.
Hello and welcome back.
Thanks for joining us for another episode.
I am Malcolm Childs.
And I am James Giffins, and we are Just Making Conversation.
This is Season 2, where we discuss the ins and outs of the model making hobby that brings us joy and pain in equal measure.
From the greasy sprues and the gloss coats, and everything in between, we are going to be Just Making Conversation. Remember, there are other podcasts you can listen to.
Plastic Model Mojo.
The Scale Model Podcast.
Plastic Posse Podcast.
On the Bench.
Model Geeks.
The Sprue Cutters Union.
Small Subjects.
Head to modelpodcast.com for all the links.
If you've enjoyed our podcast, consider leaving a review, as it promotes this podcast to more people to enjoy.
Showing your support to us is easy as making a cup of coffee. In fact, why not go over to buymeacoffee.com/JMC podcast and do just that. Your support will help go towards making the podcast and its content just a little bit better.
In this episode, we will be just making conversation about New Year goals and aspirations. Are they worth the time and consideration?
Nothing says New Year better than setting a target to achieve or aim for. A goal towards a life-changing experience, or maybe a hobby-changing experience. Remember, being a model maker is not just a fad, it's for life.
So what are those best thought out New Year resolutions, techniques, or even model-related challenges that we would do and recommend? Exciting, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a whole new year.
It is a whole new year, but it's the same old you and me.
Well, you say that. You say that, but that's not necessarily true, because you are a lot different now than you were last year.
Am I?
Yes.
How am I different, James?
Well, you're older to start with.
Correct.
You're less hairier than you were last year.
I had a haircut. Had my yearly haircut.
It's like almost a whole new you has burst out of what was you.
So like how a crustacean might shed its skin once a year.
I didn't call you a crustacean, but I'll go with that.
I'm now released from my pupa stage.
Careful how you pronounce that.
Pupa. And then I'm now in my adult stage, so I may have wings. So.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Have you just announced to the world in the first month of the year you are now officially an adult?
45 years old. I don't think so. I don't feel like an adult.
Not yet. Way far to go.
No. We've just had a New Year and a Christmas and all sorts of stuff. How was your New Year?
My Christmas was exciting. Very exciting. I was at work Christmas Eve on a late shift. Thanks, boss. I had Christmas Day off. I had Boxing Day off. And then I got a rude awakening on the Monday asking where I was because I should be at work.
Oops.
And it's because it was a rest day work and I'd forgotten that I'd volunteered to work an extra bank holiday. Thanks for that, boss. So, yes, rude awakening that was early in. And then, that was about it, really. That was as exciting as it got. My mother-in-law came over all the way from Russia, so she was in 10 days isolation. And unfortunately, when we put her in a cage in the garden, we have to be around, so we can't go anywhere. So we were around for that. And then, obviously, New Year's came. New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve I was on a late shift. Thanks for that, boss. that went by, and very uneventful, really, because
Good.
I had to be up early for an early shift. Thanks for that, boss. The next day.
Okay.
How was your Christmas and New Year?
My Christmas was quiet, I suppose. I spent most of the Christmas day at my in-laws. We stayed over till Boxing Day. They cooked, so which was great. Good grub there, you know.
Mhm.
So we were well fed, and they had the fire on in the evening, and it was lovely. Kids have a great time too. They really enjoy it up there. And then we came home and just had a quiet time. Really, I didn't do any Models for Heroes work at all, a little as I could. I did lots of model making.
Mm.
Now, do you remember I said that over December?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember in December I said I was going to try and get rid of all my shelf queens,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to attempt to get all the stuff made and done and finished and out of the way and ready for a fresh new start. Do you remember?
I do, yes. That was so last year, but I do remember.
Yeah. And do you know what happened? Do you know what I did?
I think that you did what you set out to do.
No, I made it worse. I started kits that I shouldn't have done. I didn't touch the ones that I said I would, and I bought more kits. That's so stupid.
It's official. You are a true model maker.
Well, I have reasons for them. So the Corsair, I mentioned it to one of my friends, and he said, "Oh, I've got a Corsair too. We could finish that together." Because he also had one, so he's going to get it to the same stage I am, and then we're going to work on it together. So I couldn't touch that until he had
Caught up.
got to a point.
Mm-hmm.
I literally forgot that I had another 2 kits down there because they're low, and I'm not low. I'm tall, so I didn't see them.
Below your eye line.
Doesn't exist. And then something happened with the Revel Blackbird that arrived. I also got given another Blackbird in the same scale, so I ended up doing that. So I've got that here. It's only a little one.
Oh, would you look at that?
Look at that. Look how big that is.
That's amazing.
Absolutely, it is. I haven't put the most of it on yet, but it was a started model kit when it was donated. So I was like, "Oh, I'll have that, and I'll finish it off and hang it up in the unit." So that's so cool. So I was working on this, and now, of course, I haven't finished it. And what happens is it goes on the shelf with the rest of the ones I haven't done. And I started. I started doing the characters and stuff that I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
On the little plinth.
Yeah.
So I can talk about him a bit later. And I have been painting up this guy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I painted him up, and I finished my M41 Walker. That's the only kit I did actually finish, and that is in the cupboard over there. I made it worse, which was daft. But do you know what? I absolutely loved it. I loved every single second of it.
That's all that matters.
I made time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just wait for the time to appear to find myself bored, because that doesn't happen anymore.
No.
Made time. I made the time. That's what you have to do these days. There's no point saying, sorry, I just didn't have the time. You have the time.
Yeah, see, I spent a great deal of time hiding away from social media and everything like that. I did do a little bit of model making, but we can talk about that later.
I think, a lot of people talk about how important it is to look after your well-being and to be mindful of your own workload and just to be careful and considerate to yourself. And so we did. We were very, very careful and considerate, and we took a nice big long break. We didn't care how long it took, as long as we felt rested when we came back, and I certainly do.
Oh yes, I do too. And it's good that we practice what we preach.
Let's do this. Let's get the road on the show.
Indeed.
We've had some messages in the last week or two.
Thank you so much for everybody that sent messages, interacted with the few posts there have been that I've put up and that have gone up. And I have noticed a very much an upturn in the communication with our listeners.
Yeah,
it could be because they were missing us, but
yeah, maybe. But what messages do we get?
So let's have a look, shall we?
I've got one here from Drew Oliver.
Oh, okay,
he sent
yes.
a message. He said, "Happy New Year, Malcolm and James." Odd question, more for Malcolm. He spelled Malcolm wrong twice. I'm listening to some music I heard on YouTube, and a band I haven't heard in a while showed up. Maybe one of you are familiar with them. They're called the Black Dyke Band.
Ooh.
I think they're from Leeds, but not sure. I saw that their conductor's name was the same name as mine, Child's. Nicholas was his first name. So long story short, any relation. The music sounds very much like our theme music. Take care, be safe, and I look forward to the second season. Cheers. Hi, Drew. No, that isn't anything to do with me, or I don't know who Nicholas Childs is. I'm sure he's awesome. No, just same name, same country. We don't all hang out, all the Childses. It's we don't have like a child's party.
No, I don't think you're allowed to. Not after the last cheese and wine party you held.
What were the keys? Cheese and wine party.
We have got had a couple of people being very kind and bought us a coffee. One of those being Simon, the Jersey Gentleman. He said, love listening to the podcast. Some really diverse and interesting subjects, guys. Nice again to meet you at Telford, James. Looking forward to hearing season 2.
It's all about James, isn't it?
No Malcolm in that comment.
No. Maybe this 2022 is the year of the James.
The year of the James. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
What is the Chinese New Year this year?
Siri, what is the Chinese year of 2022?
The year of the egg cup.
Here's what I found.
It's the year of the tiger.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Tigger James is here. He's in the house. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
From Drew, he said, thank you both for all that you do for the hobby. Here's to season 2 and many more. Thank you, Drew.
Hey.
So Steve Lee bought us some coffees and he says, thanks for your creative and insightful model making podcast. Your episodes are a regular part of my modelling, and I appreciate the craft that you apply to each episode. Look for a shout out on my modelling blog, Sprue Pie with Threats. That'll be in the next few days. So thanks for that, and thanks for listening, Steve.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you very much. Steve Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Lee. Oh, people are very kind.
Oh, they're wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
But the feedback doesn't stop there, I'll have you know.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. So, I put a couple of posts up. I put a little teaser up to ask you what your hopes and targets were for the year. So, Ray Davis, he was the first to answer. One of his goals was to rejig his hobby space to include his new spray booth. I'm intrigued. I want to see pictures, Ray. And to go outside my comfort zone and attempt more building of ships and armour models. Importantly, not to get my space so cluttered.
That's good luck with that.
Yeah.
If you want to be building ships and armour, I think you're going to be cluttered. You're going to have tracks to deal with. You're going to have big hull to deal with. Loads of space needed. Yeah. Good luck with that. Well, I wish you the best with that one.
Yes. I'm looking forward to seeing that spray booth, because if he's talking about doing ships, maybe he has...
Well, I know. Because if he's got a spray booth on a desk and hasn't increased the size, he can have less space.
So I'm reading that and read that completely wrong in my mind. So the next one is Damien. He says, I want to get a grip on OPR and be more comfortable using the technique. I'm not...
OPR?
Yeah, OPR.
Do you know what OPR is?
Yes, OPR is... it's gone right in my head.
Open Peer Review?
No.
Office of Professional Responsibility?
No.
Old Port Rum?
Oh, that's the one. He wants to drink more Old Port Rum.
What about Official Poker Ranking?
You got to be careful how you say that.
Office of Public Record?
No.
Operating Pressure Ratio?
This could go on for hours. Help me.
I could read another 57 if you want to. Ohio Pig Roast is one of them.
Oh, no, that could be the one. Oil paint rendering. It's to do with oil dot filtering of your oil paints on your models. It's a weathering technique.
On
Yes.
painted dots. Right. Okay.
Yes. I'm glad we can edit that in so it doesn't look like I'm a complete Wally.
I don't think I'm going to leave any of that in, mate. But thank you for the comment.
Yes,
now we know
thank
what
you.
OPR is. Yeah.
So yes, good luck with that. That's going to be fun. There's some great videos out on YouTube Land that will help you with that, especially a link that I'll put into the Just Making Conversation page for you to follow up.
Write it down. No, you need to do it now, otherwise you'll forget to do it.
I haven't got a pen and paper in front of me.
You need to go and get a pen and paper in front of you so you can write it
Hang on
down.
a minute. I've got a crayon. I can write on the wall. Mum's not looking. There we go. Done. Written on my list of long lists.
Good job.
So next up was Frank. Frank was saying, I just want to get my workbench more often.
Yeah.
So that's it. Next up is Victor. Victor says, hope to build more and listen to more podcasts. He doesn't specify what he'd be building more of.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right. Let us know. Yeah, well, that's another one too. Just doing more building, more hobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
Gordon up next saying, finish a couple of kits off my Shelf of Doom, aka a Drawer of Despair, and listen to more JMC. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Not Podcast of Despair.
No. Clive has set himself a goal of build a Rubicon kit. Now that's specific. I like that.
Very specific. Thank you, Clive. Good idea. I think everyone should
yes.
build a Rubicon kit because they're great.
Absolutely. And it's certainly a scale that a lot of people might not do as well. 156.
Yeah, it's a different scale, isn't it? It's a wargaming scale. 156.
Yeah.
It sits in your hand nicely. It's easy to paint. It takes hand painting very nicely. Obviously, you can airbrush it as well, but just that kind of just right size. It's a little bit different to 148, obviously, but it's kind of close. Yeah. I like it.
And the last comment for the post was from Neil, and he said to enjoy life. Now, I think that's a great one to end with, funny enough. Definitely enjoy life more. And if that involves more time on the bench, do that. If it involves making sure that you take time allocation for the bench and for loved ones, then that's what you should do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. It's a sad state of affairs, though, isn't it, James, when you have to decide that you have to enjoy yourself more. Get yourself a hobby.
I think this is the problem, though, isn't it, with life generally, is that you're surrounded by stuff all the time, and before you know it, so much time has disappeared. And harping back to that comment of I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that. Quite often that's the case, is you're just distracted so much by what's going on around you that you lose the time in which you could have spent doing something else.
Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? Or doing stuff for other people. Do stuff for yourself. That's what I say.
Always take time for yourself. So, in light of what we've all discussed so far,
is
there a goal that you set yourself this year?
Well, no, not directly.
Are you a New Year's resolution sort of guy?
Do you know, I used to love doing New Year's resolutions. And I slowly got worn down to realize that I never actually kept up with any of them. And so I just don't bother making them. But I still do like hearing other people's aspirations and desires for the year. I think this year I'll try and carry on as I did in December, spending more time at the bench, building stuff, taking photographs of it, just enjoying the hobby. Because I enjoy the hobby too much at model shows. No, that's not the right way of saying it. I use model shows as the hobby more than I should. No, I should do more of the hobby on the bench, actually doing the hobby, rather than talking about the hobby so much. There you go. That's probably right. Which is odd because I'm doing a podcast. So, I don't know. Work less.
So, allocate more time for you to progress on your builds.
Isn't that what I said?
Yes. In around about 9 sentences, but yes. Definitely was what you said.
Yeah, make more time for myself, I think, and my hobbies. That's definitely it. I will do my best. Probably by the end of February, I've forgotten about it, and I'll be a nervous wreck, but we'll see. What about you? What are your New Year's resolutions? Start with the first 10.
Well, I'm not a New Year's resolution sort of person.
No, the whole podcast
No.
is about New Year's resolutions, James.
Well, strange that. I think we might have done one about science fiction because I'm not a fan of that either. But you know, I used to. I like a bit like yourself. I used to be adamant every year to decide on what goal I would set myself, what an amazing task I would do, or lose weight, which clearly has worked over the years. Eat more healthily, run a marathon,
Sorry.
talk to the wife more. All of these things, obviously, I've stuck to. No, I just got to the point where I was just like, what's the point? I don't stick to any of them, so there's no point making it. But the one thing in which I did decide at that point, which was some 10 or more years ago, the only resolution I've had for I think it's about the last 8 years, is to be more kind to myself.
Yeah, good.
That's the only thing that I'm really genuinely try to do. Is I spend a lot of time procrastinating about stuff to the point where I drive myself insane, quite literally, worrying about everything else other than me. And I every year I say to myself at the beginning of the year, this year you're going to be more kind to yourself. And remember, you're a tiger this year.
You're the James. Yeah, I think you're right. You should definitely make some more time for yourself and be kinder to yourself. Because you're my friend, and I want you to be happy. And if I was as nasty to you as you are, you wouldn't want to know me.
I'm not nasty to you.
No, I didn't say that. If I was as nasty to you as you are to you,
yes, I am.
Yeah, so
I am quite awful to myself.
No more telling yourself off for making tiny errors.
No. So yeah, no, that's the main thing. I mean, obviously, I have sat in my little room over the last month or so and thought to myself, I really must make a plan of builds, and I must do this and I must do that. And I've been throwing caution to the wind this year. I am not making any plans at all, even to the point that I apologise for this, but in my Facebook group, there are no group builds this year.
Well, it does take a lot of your time up, doesn't it?
Yes, that's part of it, but like so many other people and so many other groups, at the beginning of the year, you get bombarded with, we're going to do this year, we're going to do this year, and I'll be a part of that, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and you end up with like 69 different projects, and you end up doing none of them, and that's sort of how I feel. It's for me personally, that's where I am. There may be something going to happen in my group, but that's all later on. But anyway,
apart from that,
that won't have anything to do with. Well, one will have something to do with me, but the rest won't have anything to do with me if anything else occurs.
Okay, gotcha.
Purely this year, focus on myself. There are a few things that I've got in the pipeline that I want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make excuses. I want to get them done.
Awesome. Well, that's really good. I'm really pleased to hear that. What is the first thing you're going to do? Or what are you working on now?
Oh, do you know what? That is a really good segue, and I think that's what you meant by this. But the first thing I'm going to get done this year is I'm going to finish the Moosearoo Cup build. Yay!
Oh my god! Well, I apologise to anyone who is listening. I might have to reduce that volume down slightly because I don't know if you can see that, James, but it's kind of really just filled up the entire soundbar.
That is a peak.
It's a peak and a bit. Yes, it's a Mount Everest of a scream. But that's great news. You've done quite a bit as well. You've been quite a visual as well with what you've been up to. How's it going?
Well, I haven't been as visual as I wanted to be.
Wait. Sorry. Wait. We need to do the...
hang on. What's that I hear coming?
Moosearoo Cup. Moosearoo Cup. The Moosearoo Cup. Let's talk about the Moosearoo Cup. Boom! Woohoo!
This is not being negative towards myself, but I haven't done exactly what I suggested I might do, i.e. lots of lives. And I'm going to be honest and open about it. The reason I've not done it is because I was very uncertain as to where I was going and what I was doing, and I didn't want to make let's be honest, a tit of myself. So I've not done the lives for that reason. However, I have put some posts up, and I have shared what I've been doing. So it's been a challenge because what's in my head, as per usual, is really difficult to get out of my head and in a form in which I can understand how to physically do it with my hands. So
You certainly made it right, though. It looks fantastic.
it's getting there. It is getting there. This is the first time. Funny enough, I was talking about this only earlier today with some other guys. If you don't have a paint mule for your model making, get one.
Oh.
Because part of the process I did with the paint effect was I ended up making a mule out of a piece of board or whatever it was I used. I can't remember what I used now.
Yeah, just a plastic card or something, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was foam with a bit of plasticard on top of it. I don't know what you called it, but anyway.
Yeah, but this is the hexagon stuff you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, so this I've used a hexagon motif, if you like motif. No, motif's the wrong word. Paint effect, camouflage, and to find a hexagon paint supplier has been very, very difficult. So basically the idea was in my head is I got this mask that I wanted to use, and it'd be really easy because I've got the mask, right? It would be if the mask went around lots of different angles all at the same time, and of course it didn't.
No.
So I've had to use the inserts of said mask and manually put them on the pieces. My colleague has been a massive support to me after I had sat with the first leg of doing this process. I sent him a message and said, "Oh, look what I've done. It's taken me 2.5 hours." And I got a reply back was, "Were you looking for sympathy? Because I'm all out of it. I told you to build it out of the box."
A heartless bastard said that to you. Christmas time as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Christmas Day, that was. Oh, it was like,
yeah.
Oh, no, it was Christmas Eve. Because it was like, it was like at some point you might give me a bit of coal to heat myself and be able to cook my turkey with.
I think my frustrations were, I'll be honest with you, is that we got the challenge in June.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic that it is. You've now decided how you're going to paint it. It just took that time. To be honest, I'm glad you did wait because it looks awesome, and it will look awesome. So, but yeah, if you're looking for sympathy about it takes a long time, well, if you decide to put hexagons on your model, then yeah, it's going to take you a long time. Unless you can train some bees to build honeycomb around it, then it's going to take you a while.
Do you know, I hadn't thought of that. That's a really good idea. I've got some local bees. I could.
I don't think that's good or proper practice.
Okay, no, I won't do that. I will think about it though. The funny part is I know our colleagues are still working on theirs, so I don't feel out of sorts. I certainly don't think I'm going to come in last with a "I've done it." You're all here already. Probably will be, but
you do. I feel like you need a whipping, a push along. You don't get anything done without a bit of pressure behind you.
I do tend not to go the easy route. Yes.
I
do like when you say build out of the box. I hear think outside the box. What do you mean? Can I just follow the instructions?
That's what I would have done.
As I say, I was doing something. I was doing a little bit of hangout with some people today, and Malcolm wasn't there, so he doesn't know this. We have the royal me. I have decided how I'm going to display it.
Oh, okay. For the photographs.
Yeah, and you'll be glad to know I've gone for a nice, easy route.
Oh, please tell me you have, though. Oh, fuck's sake. Is it something you can set up very easily? For listeners, he's shaking his head. He's also finding it funny, which is the worst thing. Is it something that you have to make? Oh, fucking hell. Well, so it's a photo frame you're showing me, yeah? That's fine. He's coming out of the frame. So you're going to have to pose the fucker too. Oh, you bastard. You know you've got till March.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah. It's fine. Now.
It's the end of January.
Thinking about it is done. It's decided. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly how it's going to be done. And I can tell you now. Now, I know this is dangerous.
Don't do it. Don't say it, because it won't happen.
But it is the 9th of January while we're recording this, and I can guarantee you 100% that the base frame will be done before we record the next episode.
Unbelievable. Oh, yeah, you heard it here.
I am that confident.
If you don't do it, you have to pose naked with just a Making Conversation sticker on your
Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. I could probably do that with half a sticker, if I'm honest.
Well, not if you got angry. I don't know where I'm going with that. Sorry.
No, move on quickly. Be honest, I could be braver, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give myself a bit of leeway because I'm being kind to myself.
So promise me you'll be kind to yourself. How about that? Yeah.
It's gonna be done.
Oh, good. Well, it's a nice idea. So he's going to be climbing out of a photo frame.
I can't say.
Okay. So you don't want me to say either.
I can't say in this podcast because the reason being is that I want to have something to use for the Mooseroo update next episode.
Right. So I have to cut all that out.
No, you can give that teaser. That's fine because I've not said enough to give away what I'm going to be doing.
So I can say he's going to be climbing out of a photo frame as part of the Mooseroo update that we're recording right now.
He won't be climbing out, but there is a photo frame and he will be posed.
Oh, I see. Well, the way that you went rah made me think that he was coming out.
Sorry, that was my hand signals. It didn't come across quite as well as it should have on a podcast.
Yeah, little cheeky tiger move you did. Rah. No? Am I wrong?
No. What I'm actually going to do is the photo frame will. I've not done any research into this. It was just something that I had pop into my mind, and I confirmed with a colleague, a friend, it's his fault, and he went, "Oh, that'd be really cool." So I took up the challenge.
No, I like the idea. Awesome. Well done. I actually had an update. That's great.
Yes. Yeah, going back to the mule, one of the things I did with the mule was I tried out lots of different colour techniques with it. Ended up with 7 different versions, and then asked my my closest friends what their opinions were. Most of them ignored me and said, "We're not interested. You not here for sympathy."
Some of them thought, I thought I blocked you.
I chose the one colour in which no one chose. So thank you for your help.
Why did you ask?
Talking about New Year resolutions that we have been talking about and goals, etc. So one of the things in which I would suggest to our listeners is you may have made some resolutions and goals already in relation to model making and how you want to progress in the future in this year. But please make sure you do one thing for me. Don't set yourself a target to fail. It's better to set yourself small targets to achieve and achieve multiple ones than it is to set yourself one target and fail, because that's unfair to yourself, and that ties into what I was saying about being more kind to yourself. That's the one downside to the whole New Year's resolutions sort of scenario, is that a lot of the time people pick things which through circumstance, not because they haven't tried or anything like that, or maybe even the environment in which they are in, doesn't allow them the opportunity to reach those targets. So set yourself some small achievable targets. Just enjoy the journey, because you will enjoy the journey. Because if you set yourself a really big target and struggle and beat yourself up for 6 months, you're not going to enjoy the journey. And the journey is part of the fun, right?
Yeah, of course it is. Well, do you think some of our listeners have bitten off a bit more than they can chew, do you think? Do you think that's a bit too big, just to say I'm going to enjoy the hobby, or is that too small?
I think that's big. I think that comment is big, because enjoying a hobby can mean so many different things. Enjoying the time you sit down and you make something, or the interaction through podcasts or social media or clubs or model shows. Because remember, we've been starved of model shows because of the circumstances that have happened over the last 2 years. That's now hopefully turning a corner in many places, and we've got more opportunities to meet up and mix and all the rest of it. And don't be afraid. And I say it like this because I've been starved of social interaction, physical social interaction, for quite some time, and I'm incredibly nervous I got to stop myself from the worry. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're being honest with yourself about the fact that you are worrying about it, yeah.
Just embrace it, enjoy it, and do it in a way in which doesn't stress you out and
Yeah.
you're safe.
You were isolating for quite a long time, weren't you? For health reasons.
Yeah.
And that's going to play on your mind for a bit, no doubt. But how did you feel at Telford then? Once Telford had all dust settled, and
It's funny, you know. Telford was really weird for me this time round because I helped you guys on the stall, the table.
you did, yeah.
There were moments during the weekend that I was a little upset with myself that I didn't take advantage of walking around the show and going out of my way to meet people. There was a little annoyance that I didn't go and do my usual thing, like take all the pictures, make a show report, blah 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 blah. But on reflection, I thoroughly enjoyed it the way it was, and I just realised without actually trying to, I was actually shielding myself by hiding behind the table. Well, not hiding behind the table, but you know what I mean. I was giving myself that distance. I wasn't going through the hordes and the crowds like I would normally. And don't get me wrong, they weren't as bad as you could imagine.
There weren't any hordes and crowds.
No, there were crowds. There were groups and huddles, etc. But not like it was before. In years past, the numbers were different, without doubt.
You sounds like you did the things that you enjoy yourself rather than doing the things for other people. Like you said, you didn't do the show report.
Yeah, I didn't do the show report for a simple reason, because there were lots of people doing show reports, and I just thought to myself, you know what? Why do I want to do that? And if I'm completely honest, some of the technology I took with me that I had planned to use didn't quite work out the way it should have, because I hadn't taken the time and trouble to make sure they worked 100% correctly.
Oh, what was that? What was that then?
Well, I bought some radio mics, didn't I?
You did. I didn't actually see them.
We could be honest about this. We did buy some radio mics, both of us.
We did, yes, on the same day almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did take the said radio mics with me. However, the radio mics that I bought did not. Yeah, you got them in front of you. I've got mine in my box just down there. Yeah, I took it all with me, but I didn't. Dare I say, play with it enough before I went.
You didn't test them.
No, I did test them, but I didn't test them adequately enough. So what I bought them for, which was a bit of a on-the-spot sort of reporting stroke live, possibly podcasty sort of thing, didn't happen the way I wanted it to, because the compatibility to my equipment. So I had bought about 7 different types of leads, but I hadn't taken the time and trouble to make sure they all, or one of them, worked properly. That was my fault. So yeah, that frustrated me actually, and that was part of my. Do you know what? Don't get frustrated. Just enjoy what it is.
Do you remember I forgot I bought them?
Yeah, you forgot yours. I remember now. Yeah.
Don't mind. You know, we were going to do it if we did it. If we did it, we would do it. I mean, we weren't there as JMC, were we? So
I hadn't gone specifically as JMC. I hadn't gone as the model officer.
Nope.
I'd gone as me.
Yeah.
And gone to help out a bunch of guys on something that I feel very strongly about. So, yeah, your earlier phrase that it was about me was right.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that at the time, but yeah, it was an interesting experience. And like I say, the ability, because I was behind a table and talking, I was still interacting with people, but obviously I had that physical barrier stroke distance. It made me feel quite safe.
Yeah.
And that was my first going out in the world properly and socializing.
Well, I think it would have been for quite a lot of people too. I think.
Yeah.
You know,
that made it quite special actually. And like I say, I didn't put all that together until after the event.
You know, hopefully that'll happen again. Well, that's the trouble, isn't it? You get into these things like into the hobby, and then you get into more facets of a hobby and add things to it, like you know, your model officer stuff and forums and things like that, which is always fantastic. But it takes time, and it can take you away from the actual enjoyment of the hobby in the first place, which is what I certainly was talking about at the beginning as well. My New Year's resolution for my hobby is to do the hobby. What the hell? Why am I at that stage where I have to make that kind of New Year's resolution? It's because, you know, I'm into it in all sorts of different ways.
And that's what I meant when I said to you that, you know, or mentioned about the small steps. You know, yeah, okay, oil paint rendering, etc. Yes, it's a great technique, and yes, it's something in which you can certainly go down the rabbit hole and enjoy that knowledge and expand your. Damien's going to expand his repertoire, if you like, with his models. absolutely fantastic. But don't get hooked on it. Don't do that. Don't put that pressure on yourself.
Enjoy that learning journey.
Yeah, enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with resolutions is we put a lot of pressure on. I mean, I was talking to someone today saying that he wanted to, what was the words he used? The way he phrased it sort of freaked me a little bit because he said, I must learn how to do faces.
Oh, well.
I am determined that I must figure out the whole skin tone. But it was just the way in which it was said. It was just like a determination of...
I must.
Yes, it's a must. A must. If I get to the end of the year and I haven't done it, then I'm going to feel quite cross with myself.
I feel like he's failed, perhaps.
Yes, and that is the funny part, is that you know me well enough to know that I am somebody that will beat myself up rotten.
Yep.
Over the smallest mistakes, smallest things. And I've actually become very touchy-feely on it. How weird is that?
No, it's not weird at all. I think it's good. I think it's good. I don't think anyone should be beating you up, especially not you.
But it's like everything, isn't it? You know, going back to the OPR and all the other techniques in which there are out there, is that all of them require one particular thing. Not knowledge. It's just time and patience. That's two things, James. Oh, yeah. Never make a mathematician.
Say it again.
Yeah, there's just a couple of things in which that matter above all else. It's not the experience, it's not the talent, it's just time and patience. And you learn the skills.
And knowledge.
And knowledge, yeah. It all comes.
There's 3 things.
Well, that was 4, technically, but who's counting?
I'll come in again. What's that from?
Monty Python, without doubt.
No, I think your whole the way that you look at the hobby and the way that we put the pressure on us is not good. That's why I don't usually enter competitions because of that. I'm so aware that pressure is just going to falter the way that I feel about building things and the way that I feel about a finished model. And every single person's different.
Going back to what I said right near the beginning of this podcast was that we are surrounded by so much stuff all the time, busy firing away for our attention, where you see what other people are achieving and doing, and you're like, oh, how many times have we heard the phrase, oh, if only my work could be anything like that?
Oh yeah, I'm going to give up.
Yeah, I'm selling my stash because there's no point, blah blah blah. It's the journey.
I think people start saying that, say, oh, can I have it? I'll have it.
Yeah, I had noticed if I mentioned it, you were already halfway down the road in your car. And we forget, and it's like everything else in life, it is the journey, because that is the only thing you're guaranteed in this life. It has a beginning and it has an end. You have to enjoy the middle bit because you don't get another go. Yeah.
As far as we know, that's it. Once you're gone, you're gone. Well, that is a way of talking in a podcast. Isn't it?
Well, no, see, because it's the year of the tiger, I reveal to you that there is another world, and those modelers that are modelers and go to a happy place, and it is just a place full of plastic and glue. And
so, is it like a modelling heaven? Is it?
We don't call it heaven,
don't we?
No, we don't call it heaven. We call it just sprue.
The sprue in the sky.
Yeah, we go to the sprue in the sky. That's what we do for eternity.
So, if there's a sprue in the sky, is there a sprue in the ground where the railway models go?
Well, no, because they don't have anything to do with sprue. Well, the only thing they do have to do...
Of course they do.
No, the railway modellers. Well, technically you just call them railwayers because they're not really modellers, are they?
Railwayers.
The railwayers. They didn't all go down that way.
Let's not use the R word, not on the podcast. Poor buggers. Yeah, they also dabble in paper models,
Well, no. So you've got me on a whole different tack now. Paper modelers now, they have a very special place they go to. They are very select. They're not even allowed with the railways. Not at all. All the spruers, no, they have to go to a special place. I'm not quite sure what sort of place that is, but it's very special because otherwise they haunt everybody else. Because I was actually decorating today, and I heard the word someone had made there was a picture of something that had been made, and I heard the infinite words of paper model, and I drop my paintbrush. That's how affected I am by the whole shenanigans. Anyway, let's move on before we offend anybody else. Or maybe there's other people to offend.
I bet you haven't read this. Dante's Inferno.
Oh God, no.
9 Circles of Hell. No, okay. So he describes.
You actually meant read. I'm thinking cartoons and stuff. But yeah, go on.
Have you read the comic strip Dante's Inferno?
Yeah.
So he describes levels of hell. Yeah. And I think it's so you can imagine that there's different levels of modelling in that hell. And paper modelling would probably be at the top of yours, wouldn't it? Or the bottom. Sorry.
And for me personally, yes, paper modelling would be.
So if you're a bad boy, okay, this year, the year of the tiger, you are going to be damned to an eternity of modelling just using paper.
See, now you've set me up. I just realised what's happening here. You've set me up like a right kipper, because this is going to go out into the world, and some bright spark's going to go, do you know what? I'm not going to buy him a coffee. I'm going to send him a paper model.
Buy me a paper model.
Okay, yeah, but what am I going to do? Oh.
It'll be easy. Now, paper is very easily recyclable. So all you do is say, thank you very much, into the recycling tray straight away.
Thank you very much. I'm going to send the finished model back to you, hopefully in one piece.
No. You send it back as you send it back as a meteorite I've made. Scale 1. Here you go. I would be right there next to you as well, making those paper models and cursing.
Don't get me wrong. I know they've probably gone and left by now, the paper modelers that listen to us.
No. This is what they listen to, because they don't have a podcast, so they listen to this one.
I do. I do have a lot of admiration for you, paper modelers. I really do. Anyone that can achieve a paper model that looks like the paper model, it doesn't have to be perfect, just looks like it. I have a lot of admiration for you, because I know what that means.
Well, my paper model looks like it's been made out of paper.
Funny enough, that reminds me, I must do that. There is one of our listeners that is going to get a paper model this year.
What, as a booby prize or as a punishment?
I'm going to send him a paper model, and I'm going to do it in a very public manner, in which he has to then build
public manner. So you're going to put him in the stocks for a public flogging.
And I'm going to slap him around the face with a paper model and go, you will make this, you will. And then I'll release him and give him some glue.
I look forward to reading about this in the paper.
So making sure you set yourself achievable goals is key. Reaching for the ideal, all singing, all dancing model experience may not be achievable. Small steps can inspire yourself so much more.
Remember, it is not about how fast you become the award-winning model-making god. It's more about the enjoyment of your journey you take and the people you inspire along the way. You have been listening to Just Making Conversation with
James Giffins
and Malcolm Childs.
Follow us on Facebook, where we post photos, updates and other nonsense.
Find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Google Podcasts and all of the others.
Let us know what you are just making and what your thoughts are on the conversation in this episode.
Thank you for supporting us on buymeacoffee.com and for your interaction on Facebook.
A big thank you to our supporters:
Simon, the Jersey Gent, Steve Lee, Kilo Delta Papa, Mark, Julian, Ray, Neil, Mike, Robert, Andrew, Drew, John, Mike, Jeff, Richard, Lynn, Gordon, and 4 others
who took the time to buy me a coffee. If you'd like to grind some beans for us, come join us at buymeacoffee.com. Why not leave us a message with your name so we can give you a shout out? Next time, we'll just making conversation about displaying your models.
Goodbye.
Goodbye and take care. A big thank you to our supporters:
Simon, the Jersey... Oh, I nearly said...
I think you did.
I nearly did. Oh. But I didn't, but I still laughed that I might have done, and I didn't, so I messed it up.